Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock and welcome to the Wednesday, July the 9th. Sorry, it's 9:30. Thank you. Welcome to the Wednesday, July the 9th council meeting, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Our land acknowledgement, we are gathering on the lands that have been home to First Nation people from time immemorial. We acknowledge that what we now call Richmond Hill is on the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the Mississaugas and Chippewa nations of the William Treaty. We also recognize that we are on part of the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat. We'd also like to acknowledge all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people from across Turtle Island who now reside in the city of Richmond Hill. We are committed to rebuilding constructive and cooperative relationships. So at this time, I'd ask if you can, please stand for our national anthem. Okay, thank you. We have no public forum, I don't believe, today. Council announcements are next. Anybody for council announcements? Wow, so quiet today. Well, I have a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to just say that we, on July the 18th to the 20th, is actually one of my favorite events in Richmond Hill. That's Rib Fest. I am looking forward to going to that as I do every year. So hopefully we'll see everybody there at July 18th to the 20th at Richmond Green. I'd like to acknowledge that it is Tibetan and Egyptian Heritage Months. It is a time to appreciate these rich cultures and their many contributions to our vibrant communities. I would also like, to send our thoughts and prayers to the many families that have been affected by this terrible flash flood in Texas. This is a really horrible tragedy, and the death toll, I think, currently is over 100, with at least 150 to 170 people still missing. So I just want to give a shout out from Richmond Hill Council to all those involved in the search and rescue mission. This is horrible thing, and the unfortunate reality is we are seeing bigger storms like this happening, and I'm afraid that we may be seeing things like this happening more often, and we need to be prepared. I'd also like to just give a quick shout out to members of the Winnipeg Council and the members of the Victims of Flight PS 752 Families Association for inviting me to Winnipeg this past weekend. For the unveiling of a new monument that they have in Winnipeg for the victims of Flight PS 752. This was the first Canadian memorial for the 176 plus one unborn child victims of that terrible tragedy. We are working very diligently and are getting very close to getting our memorial finalized. But it was really great to be in Winnipeg to see a number of members actually from the Richmond Hill area that traveled to Winnipeg as well to be there and to see what that memorial means for the people that are affected by this in the city of Winnipeg. So thank you very much to them. And I look forward to inviting them also to Richmond Hill when we unveil our memorial. So I think that's it. I guess the only last thing I would say is that this is the last council meeting until September and this summer. And I just want to wish all of my colleagues on council a really great summer. I know that summer does have things to do, and we're always working on supporting our community during the summer. But I really do hope that each and every one of us get some time to relax and decompress with family and staff. I hope the same for our staff, that they get some time to spend and you know, relax and enjoy all that our country and our community has to offer. So with that being said, we have noticed, or sorry, to introduce anything that's an emergency, a time-sensitive matter. Seeing none, we need an adoption of the agenda. Motion for that, Councillor Silovitz, Councillor Shu. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Disclosures of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof. What? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just draw attention to members of council that if they declared a pecuniary interest in matters last week,
right,
they would generally have to do so today as well.
Right. Okay. So, Councillor, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Councillor Tree.
Okay, thank you so much. I will step out from here.
Yeah, just declare it now.
Yeah, clear. I do have conflict of interest
Right.
for the culture grant.
Okay. And Councillor Thompson, same thing. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So with that being said, adoption of previous council minutes. We have council public meeting for June the 24th, and I'm assuming that's 2025, not 2024. And a council meeting for June the 25th, 2025. So I need a motion to adopt both of those. Councillor Liu, Councillor Davidson, all those in favor, opposed, that carries. Thank you. Identification of items requiring a separate discussion. We have a agenda before us. We can actually adopt everything on consent except for 15.4.9, which we have a delegation for, and we do have an in-camera item at the end. Anybody else? Seeing none. So I need a motion to adopt the remainder of the items. Councillor Davidson, Councillor Liu, all those in favor, opposed, that carries. Thank you very much. No public hearings, no presentations, but we do have a delegation. So Ibrahim El Haj for 66 Rossini Drive regarding the proposed bylaw amendment at 45 Prince Arthur Avenue. So come on up, sir. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Probably this microphone is the best one, and just adjust that for your height, which it looks like it is, and you've got 5 minutes to address council.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, councillors. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity. I would like, we already sent the formal objection or a brief summary, how it's called, regarding 45 Arthur Street. It's one of our neighbors that is proposing to build, instead of singular dwelling unit, a series of 4 townhouses. In summary, I would say that we're not objecting to build any individual dwelling units, but we are opposing to the 4 townhouses dwelling unit for the following reasons. I would like to summarize those points quickly, but if you can have a look at the summary provided by myself and by my neighbors, that would be suffice for your respective councillor staff. So I would like to draw your attention to the intensification that this development could bring to our neighborhood, and the density, the traffic, the parking issue that we have already. We have a surrounding area, a lot of townhouses that we basically getting choked by the number of vehicles, the number of people living in those townhouses. With all respect, they are our neighbor, we respect them. But I would like to draw the city's attention that, there is serious issues about privacy, about parking issues. We've seen a lot of guys coming. Can you rent us your driveway, because we have no way to park. If they have visitor coming, the street always ticketing the stuff, park like cars parking on the street for many nights and getting ticketed and towed. We witnessing this, so I would draw your attention that please take those factors into consideration. We have also serious concern about health and safety, about when we giving permit to such development, we would like to take into consideration the safety and life and safety for the residents. The emergency vehicle that trying to access those townhouses. So that's basically our concern. It's about privacy, about air circulation, not to mention this development will add a load on the existing sewer system and infrastructure. We're good to have a single dwelling unit. We welcome our neighbor or future neighbor, but we would like you to take into consideration our concern. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. So this item is in Ward 1. Is that right? Ward 1? Okay, so Councillor Davidson, I'll come to you first.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for coming. I have received some correspondence from residents, and I'd like to take the opportunity to help staff address some of these issues. I do want to say I understand there's nice green spaces there, but there was an infill study and it was approved that these green spaces would eventually have housing in them. And that's what's happening all over Oak Ridges, all over Richmond Hills. So the infill was approved a while ago and it's going to happen. And if I had to guess, I would say I take your point about safety vehicles because it's a dead end. But I do think that at some point it's feasible that Prince Arthur will go all the way across and join up with the other half of the street, which is now a cul-de-sac to the east. Through you, Mr. Chair, can staff explain why this is approved in terms of why not just single houses if that's all that's there now? I just want a little background on the approval process that the city understands there'd be extra pressure on infrastructure because we're adding 2 houses or 3 houses where there might have been 1. Can you explain how city infrastructure is prepared for that it could take more than we're using it for?
Through the chair to Councillor Davidson, I'll take the first approach at the answer. It's a combination of efforts between the planning department and infrastructure and engineering services department. When any development comes forward, be it a subdivision, site plan, or small infill development, staff are reviewing the implications to the existing infrastructure and ensuring that there's adequate capacity for all of 3 primary systems, being it sewer, water, and stormwater, and ensuring that all of the proposed developments are meeting the city's needs, standards, and protecting the adjacent property owners as part of that development prior to coming to council and providing approval for those plans.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Last week, a gentleman came who lives close by, and he was worried about water and the elevation of this development. And I believe staff, I talked to staff about it throughout the week. Can a staff member explain, I believe there was a site survey and how the water issues are going to be addressed as this development proceeds?
Through the chair to Council Davidson, Director Frank Supa is here to respond to that question.
Thank you, Commissioner, and through the chair to Councillor Davidson. I was able to actually visit the site yesterday in person, and I did speak to the deputy, I believe his name was Michael Pagas, on the phone. We had a very good conversation. It was important to visit the site to truly understand what his concerns were from a drainage perspective. And while I understand in working with the consultant, we're managing runoff from the properties that are being developed, it's also very important to make sure we're managing runoff that's already existing. I identified a culvert, the culvert that he was concerned about. It isn't identified anywhere in any of the drawings currently that I could see. That doesn't mean that it won't be addressed. And I made that very clear to him that I was on site yesterday. He asked me if I could come out and visit him again. I advised that I would be happy to meet with him again. We would keep him informed as to what the changes would be, and as the file progresses, what's going to be happening, so that he's confident that whatever drainage plans he has in place today to make sure he doesn't suffer through any flooding continues to be intact. And as I said, that culvert that I did identify that has a sump pump draining to it, as I believe Councillor Thompson also asked about that. We confirmed they are on sumps. They're going into that culvert. We will make sure that that culvert is maintained through a connection to the storm sewer that is coming.
Some pumps sound scary, but there are definitely neighborhoods and streets where if you walk down them, you can almost hear some pumps run off and on almost all day. And those houses have been there for 30, 40 years. Thank you. My last question is regarding trees. It's really hard in some of these neighborhoods that are a mix of new and old for current residents to imagine the trees that will be removed. Can staff please explain that if I want to build townhouses, I can't just tear down every tree? Just briefly explain, please, how trees are assessed to either be kept or removed when there's new development.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the councillor. Typically in these types of scenarios for infill or a greenfield development, there is no difference. A tree preservation plan is submitted to the city. It basically catalogs all the trees on the site. It determines their condition, and then a determination is made based on the health of the trees if they're to be removed or kept. And also, you know, where there's trees abutting the property or close to the lot line, those trees are assessed as well, and then the applicant has to deal with those with the abutting neighbor. But typically that is the process. And in this case, we have received such a plan, and it's been reviewed and approved by our staff.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, if trees do have to be removed, what is the obligation of the builder to replace those trees? Is there an obligation to replace those trees?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councillor, yes, there is a bylaw that requires the replacement of those trees. Depending on how many trees are removed, there is a rate that is required of the applicant to either replace trees on the site or provide compensation. And in this case, the applicant is actually proposing the planting of, I believe it's 6 trees along the southerly property boundary, facing those lots, the rear of the lots on Rossini Drive.
Thank you. Thank you. I think staff is listening to the concerns of the neighborhood. I know if you have green space behind you, it's hard to imagine more houses, but you know, there's lots of townhouses in that neighborhood already. If you drive along Bathurst North, it's all townhouses, and I've been in those communities and they're actually lovely. I think this is a good plan considering the densities we're seeing elsewhere, and I thank staff for their input. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay, and you'll move the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Councillor Thompson, you got your hand up next. Did you want to second that?
Yes, I would second the motion. I do have a question for staff, though. In regards to the drainage, I guess my question is that whatever the plan ends up being in the end, will that plan have any kind of impact on the existing homeowners to, say, maintain some sort of feature or something that works with that drainage? And I ask that question because I understand that when Coventry Lane went into place in behind Center Avenue there, a swale was put in at that time for, you know, to help mitigate the drainage to go, you know, so that it wouldn't go onto the properties onto Center. But over time, homeowners have filled in that swale and so forth, and now the drainage problem exists now. So I guess my question is, what type of arrangements would be made in this type of drainage scenario? And is it something where homeowners have some responsibility? And if there is there some way that we are staying on top of that to ensure that homeowners don't do something that would negatively affect the surrounding properties?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson. So I think the first part of the question in relation to the application at number 45, there are some existing drainage features in place, namely the culvert that I mentioned earlier, which would either have to be maintained or an alternate solution would have to be found to ensure that that drainage is making its way to an approved outlet. I can tell you that there is a proposed rear lot catch basin at the back of the first lot, the first semi at number 45. If we can't leverage the culvert, the existing culvert to connect to the sewer, we would then be leveraging through a swale along the side yard to the rear lot catch basin to capture any of that runoff. Again, as is the case with any infill situation, we have to match what's existing. Any application that comes forward has to be reviewed through a site alteration permit, and that permit is the process where staff takes a very good look at engineering principles and practices and what the best methods of conveying the water to the approved outlets are. So that always has to be maintained. We can't leave the existing residents in harm's way.
Okay, through the chair, I do appreciate that, but it does sound to me that in the case of a swale or something like that, a new property owner comes in, doesn't know what that swale is for, wants to level it and plant a garden or whatever. Like over time, I mean, is there no mechanism to monitor that going forward?
So again, through the chair to Councillor Thompson, as is the case with a permit that is taken out to construct a new home or in any new subdivision, as long as we have a developer that's connected to the application, a grading review is always completed prior to assumption to ensure that grading has not been changed from what the original plan called for. Of course, that doesn't mean that a resident won't make changes along the way, even after assumption. And there is a process where a resident can call into the city, it's usually to development engineering staff, to put in a concern or a complaint about changes that have been made to the original grading. And then there is a process that staff attend and inspect and confirm where the grading has been changed and then take appropriate action to put things back into the original condition.
Thank you. Through the chair. So it sounds to me that we don't have, as a city, we don't have any ability to put a specific provisions in to that goes with title of property or whatever, to ensure that those types of features are maintained when it goes from owner to owner. That's not something that would be available to us in any way, shape, or form.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson again, no, I don't believe there's anything in place that would stop that from happening. It's virtually impossible to stop a resident from making changes to his property if they choose to do so. There is, however, a bylaw that allows us to have some level of enforcement, and that's what we rely on to rectify issues when we are made aware of them.
Understood. It's just unfortunate that the issue has to happen and then get rectified after the fact. Anyway, those are my comments. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on this? Round two?
Sorry, just to do second round, I just want to share with my colleague, Councillor Thompson, that there are lots of swales and lots of sump pumps and lots of water in Oak Ridges. And my experience has been that a neighbor is not shy when water starts hitting their property that shouldn't be there, and that the city's quite reactive in trying to solve those issues, including whichever resident it is that changed the landscape. So I hear you, and this does happen, but homeowners are often pretty good at defending their domain. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? Okay, so we have a motion before us. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries unanimously. Thank you. And so we did actually have to pull the item that with the pecuniary interest. So if Councillor Thompson and Tree, Councillor, if you want to turn your camera off for a minute, that would be fine. Yeah, don't go too far because I doubt this will take very long. Okay, so we have the staff recommendation from Committee of the Whole. I need a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Liu, Regional Local Councillor DiPaolo, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, opposed, that carries. Thank you very much. Can somebody go get Councillor Tree? Okay, I think that brings us close to the end. Did we do the bylaws? Okay, do you want to do them now? Okay, so we have bylaws 18.1 through 18.12, I guess, right? Okay. Deputy Mayor Chan, seconded by Councillor Tree. All those in favor, opposed, that carries. Thank you. All right, so we have the next item, I think, is we have an in-camera discussion. I think we probably should go in camera to talk about that. So I need a motion to go in camera. Councillor Silovitz, Councillor Liu, all those in favor, opposed, that carries. Thank you. So we'll be in camera. And Mr. Clerk.
Yes, thank you. For the benefit of the public, council has adopted a motion to move into closed session to consider matters regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board with respect to surplus underutilized lands in the city of Richmond Hill, and these are pursuant to sections 239(2)C and K of the Municipal Act 2001.
Okay.